Hey guys, third time. I started recording and then I babbled around for a minute and then it just like went crazy, and then I just stopped recording after I started. So anyway, guys, a couple updates for the channel. Hope you enjoyed the videos from last week. Just my little scream ideas and creep show review. So me and Anna will be doing a couple videos probably tomorrow because we're going to a friend's play tonight. But yeah, probably tomorrow. We'll be doing our follow up on our Sony's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, how we would have fixed part 2 and led into 3 and stuff like that. And so, so we'll get those ideas together. We'll collaborate on that. And yeah, that was important. Yeah, also, what else did we saw, so this will be sort of, I'm going to segue into my little fixing the Sony Spiderverse thing here in a minute, but recent things we watched. We watched a lot of Family Ties lately, actually, but sometimes you just watch the old stuff. But yeah, we watched that movie, It's a Wonderful Knife. Pretty good. Interesting concept with taking the It's a Wonderful Life concept and all that. And like I said, Justin Long was fun in there. You had Joel McHale in there and stuff. I recognize the main girl. She was on Yellow Jackets, one of the teenagers. I forget which character she plays, but I know she was on Yellow Jackets. It was decent. Had some good comedy in it. Had some good, effects and stuff. It was interesting. Some interesting character choices. But the first I watched, it's on Shudder, so it's not bad. Check it out. You could definitely tell it was filmed in 2020 because you had a lot of pandemic type of things in there. But I mean, it was solid. Solid watch. Not my favorite of those that have twisted the genre. Happy Death Day was really good. I liked that. And I really liked, what was the other one? Freaky. Freaky was pretty good. And the most recent one was, The Totally Killer. I really like that one too. Those are all solid. I liked all of those. But Happy Death Day probably my favorite of that kind of genre twisting thing. So yeah, that's I think the only most recent movie I saw. Oh no, I saw the Paul Giamatti one, The Holdovers. Yeah, The Holdovers, really good. I highly recommend it. I mean, that's not a film for everybody necessarily, but I saw it in the theater. I really enjoyed it. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's an Alexander Payne film. So if you liked a lot of his other work, Nebraska, or even you go back as far as Election, Sideways, of course, is what I was really started following him. It's a really good film, really good cast. I really like the lady that played the cook as well. She was really good. She was funny. Young actor who was playing the main teenager. He was solid, and just an overall good cast. A lot of good humor and character growth and stuff throughout it. Some good performances. So yeah, I highly recommend you check out The Holdovers. So that's just a little quickie review of that. Not a full podcast here. So let's get to the bones of the matter here. So I asked Anna if she wanted to join in this, and she said that seems like more of a you video. So I'm like, sounds good. But we'll be doing, like I said, we'll be doing a follow up on the Amazing Spider-Man stuff, and then we'll probably some point soon we'll watch the Amazing Spider-Man, or not the Amazing. We'll watch the new trilogy and give kind of thoughts on that and stuff. And then we'll probably move on from Spider-Man. Not fully, though, because there are some things coming. The way to tweak the podcast, we're actually looking at some Spider-Man specific stuff. I won't get into it right now. Anna's looking into it, actually. So it'll cost us a little bit of money and get set up right and all that. But it'll take some tweaking, but it will involve both of us. So that will be good. So you won't have just be like this and hear me ramble. Yeah. This is my coat. I got semi recently because I needed a winter coat, and it's puffy. It's like Gore-Tex is like George's coat on Seinfeld. For those Seinfeld fans out there, yes. Unless you're just a hater of Seinfeld, and it means you probably like the American version of The Office. Anyway, Spider-Man. Let's talk. So many years ago, as you recall. Oh, by the way, we're thinking about going back and starting with Tim Burton's Batman and probably do a similar thing of fixing that. But one thing at a time, Adam. Anyway, back to that. So anyway, back once upon a time, as you know, the original Raimi trilogy, Sony put that out. Kevin Feige was involved in it. And then Amazing Spider-Man came out. They rebooted it. And then that didn't do so well. So then they're like, well, shit, let's make a deal with Marvel. And then Andrew Garfield got pushed out, and so on and so forth. And here we are. But unbeknownst to them, Sony's like, you know what? We got all these Spider-Man characters. Let's make our own universe. Let's not have Spider-Man in this universe. Maybe there's some references here and there to him, but he will not show up in this universe because we're sharing him with Marvel, and somehow we will somehow use him, but not really use him because the actor probably doesn't really want to be in these horrible movies. Anyway, so they brought out Venom. And you know what? It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad. I thought, Tom Hardy gave his all, as much as he could to do the character and the Venom voice and all that too, which was cool. Yeah, because honestly, I first heard the Venom voice, I thought it was Tony Todd, and then I realized it was Tom Hardy actually that did some voice stuff with it, which is cool, good acting stuff. But it is kind of good. I think he did voice him in one of the most recent video games. So yeah, Tony Todd rules. He just had a birthday recently, so happy birthday to him. I'd love to meet him. Like, he would definitely be like him and Robert Englund. I mean, there's lots of actors I'd love to meet, but I'd love to go to a convention and meet those guys because they just seem like really cool fucking guys. Cool fucking guys. And down to earth, and they are really nice to their fans. So I think that's real, especially with the horror convention stuff. It's nice when someone's like actually appreciative of their fans. And look, I get it. Fans can be absolutely nuts. This is totally a segue that has nothing to do with what this video is about. That's just what I do, guys. I ramble. Anyway, that's just on a side note. Tony Todd rules. There we go. So they decided to make Venom, and it wasn't perfect, but it felt very much like a 90s movie. You had, of course, Eddie Brock. They had a little tease with like that it was coming from the space mission, because I think they even mentioned John Jameson's name and stuff as the astronaut, which is kind of a little bit comic accurate of how Spider-Man got that suit. I personally would have liked him to turn into Man-Wolf myself, because why not? But whatever, it is what it is. And then we got this Carlton Drake character. The actor isn't bad. I've seen him in other things. But he was very carbon copy, cookie cutter villain, and just kind of, he was there, and then he turned into Riot, and they had a big battle, and it was kind of hard to see. And yeah, Michelle Williams in a terrible wig. But yeah, cool. But we got a nice little She-Venom thing and a weird kissing scene that everybody talks about. But overall, it made good money. People liked it. Venom's a popular character. So there you go. And then, let's see, when did Venom 2 come out? That was, well, of course we had the Spider-Verse. That movie came out. And it's awesome, by the way. Looking forward to the third part. That's a lot of fun. Honestly, that's probably where they should have just stuck with. But, because their animation is really freaking good. Like, really, phenomenal. And, yeah, that's what they should have done. But anyway, that was good. And then did Venom 2 come out? Yes, Venom 2 came out. Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage came out. And gotta admit, I was very disappointed in it. Number one, this is sort of a semi-review just to get us to where we are and where we're going. But, yeah, I just remember, it was kind of my birthday movie, and it wasn't, I was happy to go to the movies, obviously, but it was should have been rated R. Should have been rated R. It's fucking carnage, guys. You have Woody Harrelson, a capable actor, who was decently cast, and you just don't let him go full balls to the wall. It felt like a PG-13 version of Natural Born Killers, which Natural Born Killers is very much a rated R film, and needed to be. So why would you not just go for it? Why not? Who cares? That's why Deadpool did well with the rated R thing, because why fucking not? Venom's a dark character. It just, he's literally a serial killer, guys. What is more darker than a fucking serial killer? Let's not go R-rated though. Let's have a weird love story with him and Shriek, even though as far as I remember, I don't believe they were actually they were connected and allies, but I don't think there was ever really a Mickey and Mallory type of love story. But what do I know, right? And so anyway, I thought the woman playing Shriek, was decent. I did like the powers that they showed for her for Shriek because it was very like Black Canary, and it actually was well used, unlike how they had Black Canary do it once in the Birds of Prey movie. The fuck. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Black Canary is a great trained fighter, like one of the best. But she has the sonic scream, so we should probably use it more than fucking once in the goddamn movie. But we have to get back to Harley Quinn. So, sorry. Anyway, I know some people really like that movie, and that's fine. They're allowed to. But me and Anna did not. Like, Anna really hated it. Like, I thought it was okay, but not great. Anyway, back to this movie that I was talking about, though. Yeah, and it was solid, but then they killed Carnage off in, like, the first fucking movie. There's literally a storyline called Maximum Carnage, guys. That, like, has Spider-Man in it, by the way, that you could have absolutely gotten at least 2 movies out of. But no, let's do that. And the one detective gets some kind of symbiote on him or something. I don't know what character he's going to become. Like, I kind of got lost in a lot of the symbiote verse or Venom verse stuff in terms of who's what. And you got anti-Venom, you got all these toxins, and who the hell are... I don't even know who these characters are. And then you have Agent Venom, and there's the whole weird dynamic there going on. But whatever. It is what it is. It did okay, but, you know, it was kind of a disappointment. And then we got Morbius. Poor Jared Leto. I mean, granted, he's kind of a crazy method actor, so I'm not saying for it, but he just can't catch a break, man. No, Joker didn't get so well, and then Joaquin Phoenix wins an Oscar for it when he does Joker, much like Heath Ledger, and then he does Morbius, and it's, man, you know, it's Morbin time memes were funnier than anything in the movie, because just wow, just like there was one moment where like him and Matt Smith had a decent like buddy connection, and that was not bad, and that was about all I could say. I was getting bored, almost falling asleep watching that movie. That's just how bad it was. My dad got in 10 minutes and turned it off with the bat thing because he's like, what the fuck? So it's like, that was just why. And then that after credit scene with Michael Keaton, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, I have seen fucking Asylum movies with more fucking effort. Birdemic, that was Birdemic quality in terms of that sound editing. Good fucking God. And it's just funny, I'm reading this stuff on Wikipedia to prepare for this, and it's like, we really know, it wasn't all Kevin Feige on those things. We really know what we're doing here. I'm like, do you though? Do you? Because it doesn't look like you do. And that proves it right there. Plus it took like, what? A movie was supposed to come out in 2020. And they still released it looking like that. With that shitty fucking, like, we can do some good. What? Anyway, so that was awful. And now what we got coming out this year, or next year, well, it is almost next year, isn't it? Yeah. Is we have Madam Web, okay, with some really generic looking CW quality costumes, and frankly acting. I guess the one girl is like a Spider-Woman, and then another one's a Spider-Woman, and another one's a Spider-Girl or something. Okay. And then Dakota Johnson's playing Madam Web, who's really old in the comics and looks nothing like the character. But, okay. And then some guy, Alistair Sims, I don't know, he kind of looks like Spider-Man, I guess. Okay. Which, in the weird thing, in my Wikipedia, it says he's an ally, and I'm like, well, he looks like a villain here. But those costumes they showed in the Flash, what the fuck? What the fuck? That looks terrible. So that's weird. I know that there's a whole spider totem connection. I'm sorry, that's fucking dumb. I will stand by this. I understand Miles Morales. I get that. I even understand Spider-Man 2099 because that's future, and he's a good character. I can even take the Gwen Stacy thing because, okay, that's like an alternate universe Gwen Stacy. It's not the Gwen, the daddy Gwen Stacy. But then they just started getting ridiculous. It's like the Flash. All these speedsters. There's too fucking many. I'm sorry. And the Spider-Verse works because it's fun and it's animated, and that's fine. There's a lot of silly different anime. That's fine. But like, it got to a point where it's like, and then there's Silk, who also got bit by the exact same fucking spider. What are the fucking likelihoods of that? It's kind of like when a bee stings you most of the time. It's like, you know what happens when the bee stings you? Most likely they fucking die usually. They've used their stinger and it's done. Now, I don't know if spiders necessarily die after they bite you unless you smash them maybe, but it just kind of seems a little far-fetched. And then it's became 20 different other, at least Spider-Man Noir, at least some of the Spider-Verse characters are a little bit different. And still has her uniqueness to her. I don't mind her, but like, it just got so many weird, different, like, it just like, and now we have 100 fucking Spider, and it's just like, okay. To me, I don't know. It just feels like when you have too many of the same characters with the same powers, it kind of takes away from the original character. Just my personal opinion. But that's where we are. But as I said, the Spider-Verse movies are great. They are fun. I do like all the characters. It's fun. The animation's great. I like where the story's going. It's good stuff. So like I said, that said, I do like the Spider-Verse. But that's also animation. So yeah, that came out. And then we have Kraven, the hunter, who's not really a hunter and gets lion powers or something. Okay. And that one will be rated R, by the way. They have learned their lesson from Ben and Carnage. That will be rated R. And it's just like, I'm watching the trailer and I'm just like, Russell Crowe seems to be playing Kraven the Hunter here instead. And probably would have been a better choice even though he's older. But is there a certain age Kraven has to be, really? I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson's a decent actor. I mean, he's definitely, bulked up for the role and stuff. And I guess they have that rhino in there who turns into an actual rhino for some reason, even though that's not at all comic accurate or ridiculous. I think they tease that Chameleon's in there too. I guess his brother's in there, so that's kind of cool. It'd be nice to see Chameleon. But overall, it just looks fucking terrible. And then, there's probably more shit on the way. And some could be good, and some you're just like, who the fuck is that character? Like, there's that one that Donald Glover's attached to, Hypno Hustler or something. Okay. I mean, that's fine. I really don't know the character at all, but I mean, that's cool. I like the idea of Night Watch that Spike Lee was like attached to at one point, but it's kind of a vague character, but it could have been fun, cool, something you could have done with it. I like that. I really like Spider-Man 2099. I like that he got some spotlight in the Spider-Verse thing because he's got a cool look. He's got some different powers, futuristic. There's some uniqueness to it. Miles has got his own story. He's from an Ultimate Universe and stuff. So there's something there, Yeah, because I was a little down on Miles at first, but like the Spider-Verse movies kind of helped me understand his story more, and I like the character now, so I'm cool with him, no problem. I mean, Peter Parker's always going to be my Spider-Man because he's the first Spider-Man. But I've accepted Miles now. It took me a little while to get around to liking it, but I think that's how it is a lot of times with characters. So you get another version or someone replacing, and you're like, hey, this fucker, I don't want this asshole in the freaking role. It's freaking Peter Parker. But yeah. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at right now. There was also supposed to be a silver and black thing with Black Cat and Silver Sable. Okay. There's supposed to be a Silk series, and then there's a Spider-Man Noir series that both were supposed to come to Amazon at some point in time. Who knows? These are all just the rumored things and what's possibly happening. But this is where we have to stop the train and get off for a minute, guys. Because this is what would happen if I was running the fucking thing. Okay. Now, keep in mind here, there are a couple of catalysts on this. Not catalysts, but some words are hard. Some ideas, some barriers. I don't know. I can't think of words right now. I've worked all last night through 13 pallets, so I'm a little tired. Drinking some cranberry juice out of my Spider-Man mug. Does not give me spider powers. So anyway, back to me. Thanks. Caveats. That's the word I was thinking of. Caveats. Like I said, I'm tired. I haven't slept all day yet. So anyway, But I will soon. After I'm done this video, I'm going to take a nap before I go to the Friends play tonight. Anyway, with that caveat here, that we're going to take this back a little bit, okay? Let's follow Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's been some disappointments with it. We didn't do well. We kind of fucked up a little bit. Now, what happened in real life, obviously, is they made a deal to share Spider-Man. We got Tom Holland and that whole new trilogy and all that, which was good. Don't get me wrong. I like it. But let's say that didn't happen. Let's say that Sony's like, okay, we need to revitalize this. Because they really want to make a Sinister Six movie. They want to make a Sinister Six movie forever. And don't get me wrong. I would love to see a Sinister Six movie if it was well done. But what they have right now, like they were talking like, oh, we're just going to put some of these characters from these movies and make them the Sinister Six. What? Does anyone have this desire? That's the other thing too. Like the way they've set this whole thing up is like, if you're going to do a shared universe, and you don't have to, if you want to have Elseworlds things like they have with Batman and all that, and not bring any other characters in from our universes, that is totally, absolutely fine. Lots of comic book movies did that in the past, and it was fine. But if you're going to go for the shared universe, maybe actually do it right. Not just, oh, I'll make a joke about how I'm Venom, but actually I'm Morbius. That's acknowledging that there's a Venom out there, but it's not. He's not showing up. He's not Nick Furying you at the end of the thing, saying, "Hey, we should join the event." You know. And the main problem I think is like a villain movie can work. I mean, look at Joker, but you have to really like not try to make them anti-heroes. That is this obsession we have, and Disney's bad at it too. Is we have this ability where we cannot have a fucking villain be a fucking villain. Like, we've lost, and especially Disney. How the fuck does Disney, who made fucking Cruella de Vil and all these other fucking awful villains in movies, kids' movies, by the way, cartoons, that were very dark, by the way. I mean, she wanted to skin Dalmatians alive. How do you take that, and now we're like, no, that's too dark for kids. They won't be able to understand. No, they fucking will, because lots of people grew up watching those movies and are just fucking fine, well-adjusted adults. Thank you very much. Who never curse like I just did. Point being is, if you're going to do that, you need to do it right. And if you're going to be doing it, it needs to build to somewhere. It needs to build to the... If you're doing the Sinister Six, okay, cool. Guess what you need when you have a Sinister Six? Someone for the Sinister Six to fucking fight. You know it would be a great idea? Having fucking Spider-Man in here. So, that's what we're going to fix here. So, step one, we're not going to love Tom Holland. He's great. We're not going to recast Spider-Man. We're going to stick with Andrew Garfield. We're going to smooth things over. We're going to say, you know what? Amazing Spider-Man 2 happened. It was a bit of a mess. We're not going to necessarily fully ignore what happened there. Because we can't, because people are, this isn't like Halloween, we're going to just ignore all the bad sequels, or we're going to ignore those sequels and just do that, you know. But we need to correct some of this stuff. Because as we were seeing, it was probably headed towards a clone saga anyway. But, I don't know if we want to go that route. But, number one, Andrew Garfield is not leaving the Spider-Man universe just yet. But, we are going to try to correct some things. And so in order to do that, though, we need to... Now, if you want to maybe give a little break and say that Spider-Man's off doing some shit right now, dealing with some shit, okay, fair enough. Now, the way the movie ended, in Spider-Man 2, was that he was fighting Rhino. So, the whole thing was that they were trying to get this group together, get their Sinister Six together, build their Sinister Six. So... At the end of that movie, we had teases of Vulture, we had teases of Doc Ock, we had Norman Osborn's head in a jar. Very strange stuff going on there. I think Mark Webb's a decent director, but I think we need to go somewhere else. Now, I'm not saying you have to bring Raimi back, but you need to bring a capable filmmaker, but also one that at least has some fandom for the character, because no more of these directors are just like, man, I just hate this project that I'm working on. These writers, I just hate this shit. Let's just tear it up and write our own shit. Fuck this shit. I mean, I get artistic integrity and wanting to have your own vision, but at the same time, if you're working on a property that has a lot of fans, don't just openly talk about how much you hate working on it. Then don't fucking work on it. Go work on your own thing. Or go work on something you actually really do like and have passion for. And that doesn't mean you have to be a super fucking fan or nothing like that, like a die-hard fan who literally buys a fucking Spider-Man cup and drinks cranberry juice out of it. You don't have to be that, but you have to have some love for the character. Now, what I would do to start this universe off, because you want a shared universe, okay. I think the thing is, even though I know Spider-Man has fought the Sinister Six by himself in the comics, if you're trying to go for a shared Marvel-type universe, that's not the Marvel universe and is not connected whatsoever. So Spider-Man never connects with them, at this point at least. There may be worlds crossover eventually and they'll work out a deal. But right now, we're going with Andrew Garfield. And there we go. So therefore, we have a Peter Parker. We have a Spider-Man to start with. Okay, so you want to build a Venom, that is fair. But we're not going to get there yet because we need to first build the Sinister Six that we've obviously set up. So what I would do is, if you want to start to build the Sinister Six up, make actual villain movies with them as villains, giving them some backstory, give them something to, play off of, build them up, and then connect them. So forget kind of what we had in there. We can sort of retcon a little bit. We're not ignoring the events of Spider-Man 2, but we're going to just smidge that a little bit. Number one, Rhino's not going to have that ridiculous suit. Now, Rhino does have a suit, and that is kind of his thing, and he's Russian and all that stuff. But we're not going to have him turn into an actual fucking Rhino either, because that's fucking stupid. Just as I didn't like where we were going with Norman Osborn being Ultimate Goblin is fucking stupid. He looks like the fucking Hulk, and that's dumb. That's not. I mean, I don't mind having some Goblin-esque things, but I don't know, that whole thing just. I said, I'm coming in. We're taking over. We're scrapping a few dumb ideas. Okay, it's just, if you're gonna do the Clone Saga, that's okay. The parent thing, maybe, or okay, but that was a deleted scene anyway for the dad showing up. That's just, we're done with that. We found out we don't need the parents involved. Let's just drop that whole subway storyline because it got all messy anyway. Now, we do have Andrew Garfield's character still, even though he does step back up at the end, still very distraught. Even though he's coping with it, he's still very angry. As he said in No Way Home, I stopped pulling my punches. So, much like Tobey Maguire a little bit in Spider-Man 3 there, which started to get a little dark because he started thinking about his uncle dying and thinking this guy, who totally did not kill his uncle and wasn't there but was retconned in, killed his uncle, had this new suit that kind of pushed into his anger. So, that's how we slowly build towards Venom. But we're not going to get there yet, because we're going to start with freaking Rhino. Because all Rhino got in that movie was the beginning, opening scene, and the end scene. And you have an actor of Paul Giamatti's caliber, you don't waste him for 10 fucking minutes. So yes, I know Rhino's not the most elaborate character to focus a movie on, but if we're going to build towards the Sinister Six, because we know they're obsessed with it. Now, me personally, I'd rather build some other things and maybe eventually get to that. But since Sony seems very determined, and you've already kind of set up what you sort of were setting it up in Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't want to completely ignore that. So instead, we're going to not really prequel it, but we're going to, let's get a little backstory on Rhino. Let's get a backstory on how he came to America, how he got connected with this, maybe Norman Osborn or something like that. Get some connection. Also, the guy in this hat that was, get that guy out of there. We don't need him to start. Doc Ock starts the Sinister Six. Okay, let's just get that shit out of there. So scrap that whole thing. Nothing against the guy. I know he passed a little while after that anyway. So God rest his soul. I'm sure he's a capable actor. He had a nice voice and stuff like that. He looked ominous, but like he just felt like such a weird character that was just kind of. I know he's probably from the Ultimate Universe, but I just sometimes just because you could choose stuff from the Ultimate Universe doesn't mean that you should. Because while there was some good things about the Ultimate Universe, there are also some very edgelord bad things too. So yeah, we don't need to go all the way on the Ultimate Universe. And like I said, you don't have to go back to 1960s Spider-Man, but you do need to have some balance here. Because there's some bad characters. So, I think what we need to do is also, while we're building this villain origin story, is we have to build in some other heroes. They don't have to be spider-related powers. Like, I don't want to go full Spider-Verse here. But some other people, Black Cat certainly. Like I said, you have Black Cat right there. So you already have, a capable actress there. I forget her actress's name, but she was in Rogue One. Okay, there we go. So you start to have her interact a little bit with Andrew Garfield. Now, I would say let's have Andrew Garfield a little bit in the background. He'll pop up here and there, but that way you still have Spider-Man involved. But this may be like, sort of shot a little bit around the background. I don't want him to just be like, oh, there he is swinging by, But like, maybe you can have a couple things where Spider-Man stops a bunch of really very minor one-note villains, freaking Big Wheel or something like that, But then we get built into Paul Giamatti leading this Rhino movie, get his backstory, almost go a little bit like, although a little bit better, but like kind of Mickey Rourke's character from Iron Man 2 with the Whiplash and his father and all that, have some kind of like vendetta of why he wants to, take this weapon and what he wants to do with it and all that stuff. Because that's what he was doing. He was trying to steal weapons, right? So, bring him, up to speed. And Paul Giamatti is a great actor. He would have given us all. So, we start with a Rhino movie. Or maybe, I don't know. I guess streaming services weren't as big then, but maybe you have some kind of deal. Maybe it's just like a streaming thing, If you want to get into like a TV series, you can either go with a Rhino movie or you can go with a TV series. Okay. So, number one, we got Rhino. Okay, Rhino's movie set up. Andrew Garfield stops a couple minor villains, dealing with stuff. And that can even be a little bit, like, since it's sort of a prequel Rhino, you can kind of, jump up towards the end. And the end can kind of jump up towards a big fight. Boom. Climax. There we go. Maybe Rhino gets arrested, and then we have someone come and visit him, which we leave in the dark. We don't know who this is yet. It's not the guy from before. But hint, it's Doc Ock, but we're not going to show Doc Ock for a while. We're going to build up to Doc Ock because Doc Ock is the guy that leads this freaking thing. Okay, so we got Rhino set. Rhino is set. Okay, so who else do we need? Well, Electro disappeared, right? So we've kind of written Electro out a little bit. But you know what? Electro can always come back. But we'll save Electro because we already got a whole Jamie Foxx thing there. So we're not going to use Electro yet. Maybe we can get him back and not make him blue. So, all right, Rhino is set up. So we have Vulture. We have Doc Ock. We haven't set up Sandman yet. We've seen him in the past. And who else is there? Yes, Kraven the Hunter. So we have to set up a couple people to play that. Now, at this point, this would probably be about, 2010, 2011, 13, something like that, whatever. Aaron Terry Johnson was involved in other things. He might have even been getting ready to do Age of Ultron. So, granted, he didn't last long there. So, we got to build either a Kraven the Hunter movie, a Sandman movie, a Vulture movie, or a Doc Ock movie. And then we come back to Electro, who will show back up. So we got Rhino set up. So I would say the next guy we go for, since we kind of teased him, let's go ahead and get Vulture. Now, I'm not going to lie, Michael Keaton was great. But he may not have been available at that time. So, if we want to go backwards a little bit, if you want to go Raimi trilogy, you get John Malkovich. Because, now, I could easily just put Keaton in the role and be completely happy with that because he's great and there's really no reason to guess, but Malkovich was Raimi's original choice. Now, I would actually, if I was doing this, I would have Raimi kind of consulting a little bit. He doesn't have to necessarily be the director. And maybe Mark Webb's involved somehow too. But somehow give me some advice, here and there for what he has done before. Sort of a collaboration of sorts, and Kevin Feige's in the background there. But, so, there you go. So you set up your Vulture movie. We get to know who Adrian Toomes is. Like I said, to be honest, the guy, Comfiore, he could have just been he looked like Vulture. He could have just been great. But anyway, his character wasn't Vulture. So let's say we go John Malkovich, which was what they were planning for Spider-Man 4. But that never happened. So, hey, he's free. And Malkovich is a capable actor who can lead a movie. So we go into his backstory a bit and all that. And we make some connections with him and Peter Parker and stuff. And like I said, Andrew Garfield's going to appear mostly in cameo stuff. So a lot of people are like, well, why are we getting all these Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man's barely in it? We're setting things up, guys. Don't worry. Like I said, this is all coming off the top of my head right now. So bear with me. So we got our Vulture movie. We get John Malkovich. We get him his Vulture wings. Same guy shows up, finds him, says, hey, I'm putting together a team. So we're kind of getting a reverse Avengers here a little bit. So we got our Rhino and we got our Vulture. Okay. So Doc Ock has not been introduced yet. We're saving Doc Ock. I actually have someone in mind for Doc Ock that I'll get to in a minute. So next up, I say let's get Sandman back in there. Okay, now Sandman is usually just a low-level criminal, kind of like Rhino. I would say maybe set up a connection between them. Now, me personally, while I didn't go with Michael Keaton, I'm going to stick with Thomas Hayden Church. Because Thomas Hayden Church, as I said from our revamp of Spider-Man 3, he did not get a lot to work with. But he did the best as what he could. So this Sandman is going to be a little bit different. We're not even going to acknowledge that he's from a different universe. Let's just... This one does not have a sick daughter. He's a low-level criminal. And basically, he hasn't become Sandman yet. So we start off with how he becomes criminal, someone with backstory. Thomas Hayden Church gets to lay out some things. Plus, we also get a nice sideways reunion here, see? Because we got Thomas Hayden Church and Paul Giamatti in the same Sinister Six. Here we go. With John Malkovich. So, we got those three. So yeah, we do a story on Sandman. We get things. We get him eventually get to his sand powers and stuff like that. I forget how exactly that happens. It's something to do with something. We're tying it to Oscorp. So let's just. It happens at Oscorp. I know I said Jamie Foxx got electrocuted by electric eels. There we go. So yeah, somehow he ends up in the sand thing. There you go. I don't need to elaborate the entire movie. This is just a pitch, guys. At the end of the day, it's a pitch like anything else. Okay, so we got our Sandman movie. So we've got our Rhino. We've got our Vulture. We've got our Sandman. Elektra will come back later. So that's 4. So that just leaves Kraven the Hunter and Doc Ock. So I think Kraven is next. So I know Kraven movie's coming out next year. Not on my watch. So this one will involve Spider-Man a lot more. Because this one actually will be very focused for the Andrew Garfield here. Because Kraven's Last Hunt. We're going to adapt a lot of that from here. We'll get a little bit of Kraven's Hunt. We'll also have Chameleon in there. As far as who Chameleon's going to be played by and who Kraven's going to be played by. I always thought it would be interesting. Because is Kraven supposed to be Russian? Is that what his backstory is too? There's a lot of Russians in these things. Hold that thought, guys. Let me look that up real quick. Because if he's not, I have someone in mind that would be an interesting kind of twist on things. So, I don't know if he'd be available or not, but let me see. Kraven the Hunter. I'm trying to remember what Kraven's backstory is. Is he like Russian? Russian immigrant. Okay, so yeah, he's Russian. Okay. All right. So we got a couple Russians here. We got a Rhino. All right, so that changes things a little bit. My original choice was, for some reason, I thought he was Australian. So I was going to say, let's get Hugh Jackman. But that's okay. But you know what? I feel that Russell Crowe actually does, at this point, would have made a decent, Kraven the Hunter. He's already playing his dad in this other movie. Why not get him for this? So we get Russell Crowe to play Kraven the Hunter and plays off of Andrew Garfield. And we even go with, the thing of Andrew Garfield possibly being, buried alive or being buried alive, basically. So everyone thinks Spider-Man's dead. So we have this thing. But then, of course, he comes back and all that stuff. So we play a lot of that out. And then, then we can get the recruitment again. It's like, oh, someone invested you and all that, Get Kraven Hunter in there. So we'll go with Russell Crowe. We could go with someone else. If you know some other Russian actors, that would be the right build. Jason Momoa wouldn't be bad either. He's not really Russian, but in terms of looks, Danny Trejo would be an interesting choice. But I'm going to go with Russell Crowe for now. This could change. This isn't a set thing, guys. This is not an actual movie that's happening. So this is probably going to be a part 1 and part 2 because I think there's a lot to expand upon. So we'll just basically, we're setting the Sinister Six right now. Okay, so Kraven's Last Hunt's happened. Okay, boom. We already have focused on Electro, but we're going to basically start the Doc Ock movie up with Doc Ock being able to have captured, because he's a scientist, Electro, and he brings him back, makes him not blue, and kind of puts him in stations. And we're gonna get Spider-Man. That's what Spider-Man did to you and all that. So we're gonna have Doc Ock interact because he was a professor at Peter Parker's college. So Peter Parker is going to college at this point. And so this one will also have Spider-Man very much in it. Like I said, Andrew Garfield's going to pop up a little bit in those other ones, but I think we're starting to build things here. So we get Doc Ock introduced. He's a professor. You can even, maybe if you want, throw in the Jackal in there somewhere if you still want to tease that, storyline there. I actually had Andre Braugher in mind for the Jackal. I think that'd be fun. From Homicide and lots of other things. Amazing actor, great. So I'd put him in that role. But my choice for Doc Ock would be Mark Hamill. Because we know he can play villains. And I think it would be an interesting take with him, having the kind of Doc Ock haircut. Alfred Molina is great, don't get me wrong. Love Alfred Molina, just like I love Willem Dafoe. But we're trying to build our own universe. We're not trying to go outside of bringing the same Sandman actor in. Now, as far as down below, guys, if there's someone else you think would be good a Sandman, by all means. I just thought Thomas Hayden Church didn't get enough to do, much like Paul Giamatti, so we're keeping some people around. So, yes, Mark Hamill would be there. We get into his backstory a little bit. We get to know Doc Ock, and we, build to that. We're not going to do the Superior Spider-Man thing for now. That could come down the pipeline somewhere later. Because like I said, this is mainly a shared universe around the Spider-Man universe. So there's lots of places to go, but it doesn't have to go with there's plenty of storylines you can go to. But, so that's what we do. We set that up. We also see that Doc Ock is the one that has cured Norman Osborn, essentially, of this horrible thing. Disease, at least. But you can still tell that he's still dead. So Chris Cooper would appear as Norman Osborn and actually get something to fucking do. And say, well, this looks like you're putting together quite a team here. It's quite sinister, of course, something cheesy like that, of course. But, so then, there you go. You have your Sinister Six. Meanwhile, Andrew Garfield can be getting close to Mary Jane in this movie. He can also get into things with Black Cat. So you can establish that. You start to get a team together. If you want to tease Silver Sable somewhere along the lines, sort of build a couple of allies. Now, we've already kind of turned Harry to the bad side. So there might not be a hope for him. But I'm not sure what to do with Harry right now, just because he kind of was bad. And that Norman, but if we get Norman back in, then Harry doesn't have to be bad, or maybe something happens. I don't know. Maybe Harry just dies. Drug addiction, baby. I don't know. That's sad. That's horrible. All right, but that would be basically my build of the first part, at least, of what you could do to build that origin story. But you should definitely still play off of, even though he's interested in Mary Jane and there's a Black Cat flirtation, there's still some darkness with Andrew Garfield's character, so we have to build towards Eddie Brock. And we get to Eddie Brock eventually here, but I would say do the Sinister Six movie first, before you even get to Venom. That way we can kind of, he'll be beaten down pretty good by the Sinister Six. So boom, there you go. Your Sinister Six is set up. And it's about 45 minutes in this video, guys. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. This will be part 1, guys. I want to say part 1, and that'll give me some time to think out part 2 or phase 2 of this Spider-Man verse that I've just created off the top of my fucking head. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down below. If you have some ideas or other casting ideas that you would thought of. Like I said, those are just off the top of my head. Some I just kept, some I, did a cast on. Yeah, in a perfect world, I would just bring Willem Dafoe and, Alfred Molina back in like they did for No Way Home. But we're going for a different universe. We have to be, we have to be fair to actors and give other people a chance. Joker's gotten played by many different people. So we have to do the same with Doc Ock and Green Goblin. So, and I don't know if they'll be able to top Willem Dafoe. Anyway, that's enough of that, guys. Hope you enjoy this, guys. Like I said, we'll be doing more Spider-Man focused videos tomorrow, as well as a Chucky review. So tune in for that, and like and subscribe, and have a great afternoon.